All right, welcome to another episode of the Logicast. My name is BlankaKong. I'm joined by Gunnar Eos today.
Hello.
It's going to be a two-man show today. It's going to be a short episode, I think. Uh,
Probably.
so we didn't really know what else to talk about, but we wanted to get another recording session in. And so Gunnar had recommended maybe we could do a tier list episode on video game movies. Like, yeah, sure, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. So you're seeing the tier list here. There's a lot of movies that I didn't know existed. So I've already preemptively put them in, haven't seen yet. So Ace Attorney, didn't know that was a thing. Alone in the Dark, there's two of them. Whatever This Is, Blood Rain, Whatever This Is, In the Name of the King, couldn't tell you what that's from. Postal, I know the game, but I didn't know they made a movie out of it. Whatever This Is, Wing Commander, Assassin's Creed, never seen it, and Far Cry, didn't know that this existed. Looks like it's based off like the first two Far Cry games, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, before we got weird with the Far Cry.
Yeah. So everything else is here is are movies that we've either seen in passing, seen, or we watch trailers for before recording to kind of familiarize ourselves with the films, just to not have like. I didn't want to like cut down the collection even more, so I was like, "Fuck it, we'll just watch some trailers." And some of the movies I do remember after watching the trailers, others I don't. But we're gonna roll with it, and we're just gonna kind of make a little tier list out of what we've seen. So
Yes, indeed.
this is the definition of filler content. So hopefully, if you've seen these movies and you feel like we put them in the wrong category, then sound off in the comments.
Yes.
So let's start off with, I guess, Detective Pikachu. I think this is one of the better video game movies. I would put it in great. I think they had liberties here. They took their liberties here and was its own thing, like its own kind of unique universe, with like nods to like other canon like Pokemon facts. Like I remember there being like a Sinnoh League poster and stuff like that. I thought the movie was fine. It was serviceable. It didn't blow me away, but it was cool to see Pokemon with a realistic take. And I enjoyed like the cage battles that they had shortly in the movie.
Oh, I remember
Yeah,
that.
like that was a cool scene and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would put Pokemon Detective Pikachu in great. I don't think anything's going to go on extraordinary, if I'm being honest.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
So I'm going to put it in great. I think this is one of the better, if not the best, video game to movie adaptation that we've got.
Okay. I would be great, or well, if we have to compare it to what's on the list, yeah. Okay. I was gonna say maybe good, because it wasn't egregious. Because I think this is one of the few live-action Pokemon movies, especially done in the West.
Mhm.
I imagine there might be more done in Japan, but as far as I know, this is one of the few in the West. And I remember seeing it, and I didn't hate it. I thought it was cool. You're right, it did blend a lot of stuff because it kind of blended in OG Pokemon with Mewtwo being like the, I guess the antagonist, for lack of a better word. It threw in some nods to like you said, older Pokemon games, Pokemon Go, because I remember one of the female characters literally dressed as like the default outfit for Pokemon Go's female avatar.
Yeah.
So Pokemon Go was kind of new at the time, so I found that to be pretty good nod. I think that okay. So thinking back on it,
I
I'll
could
leave it in
concede good, but I feel like this is going to be one of the few that could even be argued for
yeah,
great.
yeah,
So I'll just put it in great.
because it felt natural. Yeah, it didn't feel like very like, oh, this is Pokemon. It's Pokemon. No, this felt like this is how I could see a world. This is how I can imagine an existence of a world where Pokemon, these crazy, overpowered creatures, existed with humanity. So I did enjoy that. They didn't like try too hard to make it believable. They just did it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you know what? I could agree with great, and I think this is gonna be one of the few.
Yeah, there's only like one other movie that I might put up here. Get there one. DOA, Dead or Alive. So I saw this movie when it came out, and I thought it was whatever. Like I didn't think it was I definitely thought it was bad, but like, if we're asking like my past self, I thought it was just like just quirky. But like looking at the trailer for this, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is really. So I mean, I'm just compelled to put it here in bad. Maybe weak, but because they did try to like get some of the character likenesses down. So I mean, I guess I could give them credit for
Okay, I
that.
could agree with that. Yeah, they um the chick in the middle with the sword is supposed to be Kasumi. That's what they're telling us. At least at some point she was in the Kasumi outfit.
Yeah. And there were the other like ninja characters minus Ryu Hayabusa. They were there, and then like Zack was in the
Yeah.
movie, and he was like the comedy relief character, which makes sense. Tina was like the main character, which I guess you could do that. And yeah, like I could probably watch this movie and enjoy it for it being tongue in cheek. Um, like it's bad, but
Yes.
it's like
I did.
you know you could watch it and be like, all
Yeah.
right, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
so I'll leave it a week.
I did like the fact that they also put a nod to DOA volleyball, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, true.
I did like that. I mean, it was kind of like a gimme. It's just like, bro, you put in a beach scene. You know, the girls here. This is an old movie, just FYI. So the thinking was very different back then. So it's just like, hey, you know, some hot chicks and buff dudes doing a volleyball scene. Hey, they made a right? It ties in. It's canonical. So I think that and the fact that they actually tried to emulate the characters, which we'll see not every fighting game movie tried. I think it's weak, definitely. It doesn't even hit mediocre. I think weak is good.
Yeah.
That's kind of what saved it from me from going into bad file.
Yeah, me too. Doom.
So,
I'm assuming this is going to be based off the 2000, I think, 5 Doom movie with like The Rock or Dwayne Johnson.
I'm gonna say yeah.
This is where I would put it. It's just bad. It's probably a failure, but to me, this is like,
Oh really?
this is almost like one and the same.
Oh man. Okay, so going off the premise that this is the Dwayne the Rock Johnson version, it was bad up until the very end. So I don't know if you remember the end where suddenly like the main character, he's a good guy, he gets or mortally wounded, his sister injects him with like the good guy serum, and he wakes up, and then suddenly the movie is in first person, and like it starts becoming a Doom level. So like the gun is there and he's killing things like the Doom Marine would.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only time it got good. It was bad up until
I don't
then.
remember any of it. So
Okay, so like at the end, it like they paid homage to the original Doom by like a certain number of minutes in the ending part of the movie being first person with like the gun in front of him, just like the boomer shooter Doom, and like he was killing like Hellguard and demons, and he even used a chainsaw to cut like that movie's version of a pinky in half. So I found that to be cool. Then they went back to like third person so he can have his big fight scene with Dwayne. So
I mean, would you
does that
would you
save
put
the
it
movie?
away?
No, I would still leave it in bad.
Oh, okay.
No, I would still leave it in bad because that was the only time it got good. Everything else was bad. Like it had nothing to do with Doom, like the actual storyline of Doom. Like the guy wasn't in the Doom Marine armor. He was just in like black combat gear.
Yeah, remember that.
And yeah, so minus that one little aspect, it couldn't save the movie. It was still bad. And The Rock's acting has not improved since this movie. So take that for what you will.
Hot takes.
Hey, come at me, Rock fans. He's a very mediocre actor.
Double Dragon. You've never seen this movie.
No, I know of the game. I never knew this thing even existed.
I've seen the movie, and I remember it being really bad. It was kind of vaguely based off the game, which is, I mean, it's not much to go off of. Where they were like in a crime-ridden city, and these two brothers had to like, I think, save a girl or something. This was like, I think, late '80s, early '90s. So of course you have to have your damsel in distress as your motivation,
Right.
And yeah, I remember there being like very little fight scenes, and they were like just whatever. It was okay.
Really? A Double Dragon movie had very
I
little
remember
fight
it
scene?
being more talking than anything else, and it was just
Huh.
like, and like the fight scenes that were there were just like either quick or just bad. So it was just like not memorable at all. I haven't seen this movie in like maybe 15 years, so I don't know, but like I remember it being really bad. So I'm just gonna put it right next to Doom
Okay.
because I'd watch DOA faster than I watched Double Dragon.
Dang, R.I.P. Double Dragon.
So Hitman. Let's do the first one first. I think I saw the movie. I don't remember, but we did watch the trailers for Hitman 2007 and Hitman 2015. Um, it looks like a generic action movie. I
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if it wasn't called Hitman and I watched it, it would just be a generic action movie. Um,
I think it would move up to mediocre if it was
that's what
generic
I was
action
thinking. I was
movie.
thinking of just putting it here just because
Yeah.
I can kind of forget Hitman and just watch it for just as an action movie, and then it would just be like your poor man's Die Hard movie. Like it's just like a low budget Die Hard because that's kind of what it looked like.
Right. Yeah. It feels like it's got like that Taken vibe before Taken was a thing, or that genre of movie, because he's not saving anyone, but it just has that like that one man versus entire army of corrupt organization or something like
Yeah.
that.
So I would put it in
Uh,
mediocre just because.
I would, yeah, I could see myself watching it just like I need to turn my brain. Like, oh, he looks like the Hitman guy. But even if I didn't know who Hitman, I like you said, I could just treat this as a generic, mid-tier action movie from like the early 2000s.
Yeah, which every now and again it's nice to watch movies.
Yeah.
Hitman 2 or Hitman 2015, I thought somehow looked worse than this other movie, but it's like more or less the same. Uh,
Yeah, I would leave it at mid. It just had better CGI because we were, 2015. We had better CGI technology, which you could argue makes it worse because they relied more heavily on that than like practical effect.
yeah. So these movies are just like your John Wick style movies. It's like one guy taking on like a criminal syndicate or whatever, and
Right.
the movie
Right.
just kind of goes from there. So whatever. Like I'm okay with
I
these.
mean, they're pretty inoffensive.
Yeah,
I'd say.
like I played the Hitman games, and I played those games just like I wasn't in, oh my god, the story. So like I was like, I'm just gonna kill things, and like that's it. Like I'm just gonna kill guys, and like the game had funny ragdoll physics, and like whatever. Like the game was just like a whatever game, and so the movie kind of occupies the same space. It's just like whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
not bad. It's not great. It's just kind of like a filler. House of the Dead.
I get. I,
Um, I don't remember watching the movie, but I feel like I did see it. After watching the trailer, but like a lot of scenes kind of like went over my head as far as like memory is concerned. Um, mm, Bad or failure? Like, what do you think? Because you remembered it better than I did.
Ooh. Yeah, I wouldn't say failure. I would say bad. Um, After watching the trailer, I think I remember the movie, and I think what they tried to do is, for anybody who knows House of the Dead, it's a zombie shooter, usually like an arcade shooter, but it's very over the top. Like literally, one of your bosses is a giant zombie sloth. So like the game is very over the top. And I think they tried to emulate that in the movie. So like you had zombies that would do trick shots with axes, zombies that would use guns, because that was what House of the Dead did. Their zombies weren't like Walking Dead or Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead, like your stereotypical shuffling zombie. They were like kind of like they were zombies, but amped up human zombies. If that makes any sense, they could do things. They could use weapons. So I think they tried to emulate that in the movie. It's just like House of the Dead can go over the top because it's a video game. When it translates to a movie, it's just a very corny, very bad movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would
So
watch this faster than Doom. I'd probably put it next to DOA. Like,
As far as week goes, I mean, I don't remember it that much. I just remember when we saw the trailer, that specific graveyard scene
mhm.
as like the most over the top easy shit you will ever watch. So like, yeah, maybe week because I could see myself watching it again just to relive that like easy early 2000s vibe and the fact that they tried to emulate the wackiness of House of the Dead but still try to like take us seriously, guys. We're telling a serious movie here.
Yeah, like if I was doing like a tier list for zombie movies in general,
Oh.
like this would be probably at the very bottom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a movie that's like similar
Yeah.
to would be like Dawn of the Dead, but the 20 was it 2006 version, 2004,
Oh man.
2005.
I want to say
The
six.
2000s
Early
versions
2000s.
of
Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead is a really bad movie in my opinion, but like it's somehow easier to watch than something like this. I think. So that would
Yes, I would
like
agree.
if that
Yeah.
movie was on this list, I would put it like high mediocre, maybe even low good. Um, which might be a hot take. I don't know, but this I don't know. This whole tier list is like, rank shit from shit, and it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just like it's gonna be shit that we'd watch again or shit we'd never watch again.
So speaking of shit that I would
Speaking
never
of shit,
watch, I'm putting King of Fighters in failure
I'm not gonna fight you at
because
all.
I did see this movie and I just needed to see the trailer to kind of refresh my memory, and I was like, "Yep, it's just as bad as I remember. This shit is really poor." Terry Bogard had a bubble jacket on and was like 45 years old. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like,
It's like you couldn't get a blonde wig for the guy. Like, nah, just au natural. Okay.
I would watch Double Dragon faster. Like, that's how bad I think this movie was. Fight me in the comments. Tomb Raider. I think Tomb Raider is better than the Hitman movies. Um, I put it in good, like either good or
I'd leave it
high
in good.
mediocre, but like good just because we don't even have the space.
I
For
would say good. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I could watch that again. I think Angelina did a decent job. I mean, she aesthetically fits the Laura Croft role.
Yeah.
Like, she looks like Laura Croft if she was a real person. And they tried to emulate they didn't try to emulate a specific game, which I think was smart. They just kind of like had nods to the Tomb Raider games in a movie, but the movie was like a separate continuity, nothing to do with a video game.
Yeah.
She acted like Laura. She did the Laura things. So like, I mean, it served its purpose as a video game. And yeah, I could probably watch this movie again if if it showed up on television or if we just wanted to watch something random. Yeah, I think good is fun.
Yeah, I think that's where it should go. Like you said, the movies just took the character and was like, okay, let's just make a movie off this character and that universe, and
Yeah.
then go from there.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the smartest way to go about video game movies. Like, it doesn't, because narration for a video game and a movie is just like, it's just two different mediums, and you know, just doesn't necessarily translate well. Max Payne. Wow.
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
So I'm gonna put it up here because in a vacuum, you could probably watch this movie and be like, it was stupid, but whatever. But as a Max Payne movie, it was just like, how is this Max Payne? Like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, the whole demon stuff was random, and I think what they were trying to go for was like him, like the demons didn't actually exist; they were all in his head, and like he was fighting his inner demons and his past demons, and so that's what they were trying to go for. And so that was a good way to like add some spectacle to the Max Payne universe. But like, I feel like if it was closer to like the Hitman movies and it was just a dude taking revenge on the people who killed his family, that would have been enough to have a decent movie. But they decided not to do that,
Yeah.
and so because of that, it's just like shit. Now it's like unwatchable. This is hard to
Yeah,
follow.
one, I don't think Mark Wahlberg of all people, can be is convincing
No.
as a jaded cop who straddles the line between police brutality and justice in a gritty New York. Like, no, sorry. Funny enough, this reminded me. This movie isn't up here and it has nothing to do with video games. But I think a better Max Payne movie that isn't Max Payne is a movie called A Walk Amongst Tombstones.
Hmm.
That's Liam Neeson, which, you know, the guy gets typecasted for a reason, but he does that type of movie well. But that movie was more Max Payne because it was pretty much the same. It pretty much was Max Payne. Like, he was a jaded cop who lost his wife through not to murder, but to like divorce. He's an alcoholic, whereas Max Payne is like an alcoholic and a pill pop. So that movie is somehow a better Max Payne movie than this one. And I didn't think you could fuck up Max Payne because the premise of Max Payne could be simple.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole demon thing and like the shirtless guy with the sword and like I don't know who the fuck he's supposed to be, but yeah, if I was a Max Payne fan or even just like wanted to watch a gritty crime drama, I would not. I'd watch literally anything else other than.
Yeah.
It deserves to be.
Yeah, it stays in bad. It's just it's right there with Doom. Mortal Kombat. So these are the '90s Mortal Kombat movies. They didn't add like the later MK movies. So this Mortal Kombat is the first one. This to me, I'm tempted to put it up because I really love these movies personally. But I looking back, like I could still watch that movie today, but looking back, I think it's more like down here. It's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's cheesy. It's one of the few fighting game movie adaptations that were like, I think the closest to like what the actual video game characters are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they had all the costumes on point. Scorpion looked like Scorpion. Sub-Zero like Sub-Zero. Not Jax, but the. Well, Jax was in it.
Jax was in it, but he wasn't fighting. He fought in the second, like he was more prominent in the second film, which they did get a different actor, and he had like the metal arms and stuff.
Okay, okay. Kano, I mean,
Kano,
yeah.
yeah,
Kano looked like Kano in the first one. Yeah. You know, as far as 90s Kano, 90s makeup and prosthetics could get you, but
yeah.
I did like that. It was still serious, even though it was Mortal Kombat. Like, they did take themselves seriously, but they didn't try to be like, oh, we deserve Oscars for our serious performances. No, they knew what they were, and they played in that universe, and I enjoy it. I mean, I think a lot of guys from our era, like, who are in their mid-30s now, remember Mortal as like one of their, not iconic, I would say, but a memorable video game they could look fondly on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd leave it at good. I don't remember the second one too much. I don't think I saw it.
So the second one
or I saw it in passing.
Was worse than the first one. I would probably put it down here, next to, like, in between Hitman or something, like over here. The first one was significantly better. The second one, like, spoiler alert, I guess, they killed Johnny Cage in like the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He did a shadow kick and they just killed him, and that was it. And I was like, what? Like, I remember being so pissed because that was my favorite character at the time. It still is. I like Johnny Cage, and the actor who played Johnny Cage, I thought did a great job. Him, Liu Kang, Sonya, I felt like, oh, this is a good cast. Shang Tsung, like, he was really cool. They did a really good job. Goro, they got like a guy in a suit, and it was like, practical effects, and so like it looks kind of goofy, but like it worked. It fit.
Right, like you now know that on set there was a real guy walking around in that big Goro. Yeah.
But the second movie was like, it was fine, but like it wasn't. I'd probably put it to now, so I'd watch that faster. But like, yeah, the first one was significantly better. Is it better than Tomb Raider? I don't think. I think like, if you're not a fan of Mortal Kombat, you watch this, and then if you're not a fan of Tomb Raider and you watch Tomb Raider, I think you would enjoy Tomb Raider more.
You probably watched two. Yeah,
So
you probably enjoyed
I'd
Tomb
leave
Raider.
MK back here. Still good
Yeah.
movie. I liked it for what it was, but Need for Speed. I have not seen this movie. I forgot to put this down
Same.
here.
Did it?
So
Did it? I know it's got Jesse in it. Walter White. Let's make meth. But
yeah, I
Didn't-
forgot to put that there. Sorry. I haven't seen that. Prince of Persia.
Did I see this?
We all saw
I
this in
think I
theaters.
did.
We all saw it together.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's a competent movie. By itself, it took a lot of liberties. I never remember being like upset at the time, but I think
Yes, I remember.
I
that.
remember being like really disappointed.
Didn't they try to combine multiple Prince of Persias into
Kind
one?
of.
It wasn't like based off the first.
Kind of like no, they used like the main plot from the first game, where he unlocked the Sands of Time, and but he had like his costume is from like the second game. Like they were just mixing and matching shit. But I think in a vacuum, if you're not like a PS2 Prince of Persia fan, it's fine. Like the movie it's okay. I think mediocre
very
is
mid, which is why. Yeah,
I think I'll watch more faster. But like I'm okay with it. It's fine. Like I thought the cast, Jake Gyllenhaal, I thought I was kind of like indifferent about him, but I was like, all right, I can live with it. And the guy who played the Vizier,
I remember not hating it as much as you did.
Well,
but I know you're a bigger fan.
Yeah, I love the PS2 Sands of Time game. So like for me, I was a little annoyed. But looking back, it's like it's passable. I can live with it.
I agree.
Rampage.
Oh man. Oh god. I would just call this bad personally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see it?
I did watch it. I watched it.
Okay.
Via the Seven Seas, so I did not pay for it. And I think I've seen it in passing on like network, like cable television. Like it was just on TBS or FX or something in passing, and I was like, oh, Rampage, sure. It has very little to do with the game. Like this is like
so much so that they had to have a scene where they showed the arcade cabinet so you can be reminded what this thing is based off of.
I think bad is probably not accurate. I'd probably put it in weak. I'd put it up here in weak because
this man cannot act.
It's a movie. It's similar to like how I look at these movies, where it's like I could just watch it, and I think for a lot of people, this movie kind of falls in the same category. It's just like, sure, like it's not offensive.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, I guess most people would look at it as like a low budget Godzilla kaiju movie because that's kind of how
that's
they
really what it is.
Structure it.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and at the core, Rampage was about these King Kong, Godzilla type creatures rampaging through the city, and they did have all of the original Rampage monsters, I think, represented as well as they could.
Yeah.
The monkey wasn't white in the original, but that's just nuance.
And the human characters didn't annoy me as much as they do in like current Godzilla movies. Like Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
You know
was
what?
in this
That's
movie,
a good.
And like he was just like playing Negan in a suit basically, and like Dwayne Johnson was just Dwayne Johnson. So like I was just like, what? Like,
Okay. You know what? I just don't like his acting. Any movie that he's in, sorry, is just like, okay, supporting cast has to do heavy lifting because Dwayne's gonna Dwayne. So,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, you convinced me. I can see weak.
Yeah. So, it's in weak. I mean, this is a pretty shit tier to be in, right? Like, it's up here with House of the Dead. Like, that's not good. And DOA, that's pretty bad. So.
All right. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh Jesus.
So let's start in, I think, chronological order. We just adjust this. So this is the first movie. That's the second movie. This is the third movie. Oh man, this is where it gets confusing. I think it's this one, then Afterlife, then Global. I guess.
I stopped after the third one.
So so the first three I saw, like I actually watched. After
Same.
that, it was just like it's on TV. Sure, and I'm too lazy to change the channel. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit, they made another one of these. At least that was my
Yes,
reaction.
correct. So we'll start here and then we'll work our way down. Because once we
Yeah.
get past the second one, it's going to be pretty quick. So anyway, the first movie I thought was very very good.
Yes.
I put it in the high tier good.
No, not great. Yeah, but good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not great, but I thought it was like when I remember first seeing the movie and be like, okay, this is like a good start. Um, then Apocalypse, which I actually saw in theaters because if you listen to our past podcasts, I am a big Resident Evil 3 fan, and this one had Nemesis in it, and Valentine was in it. I thought I was like,
Yep.
ooh, okay, and Jill looked like Jill. Nemesis costume looked great, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. But boy, was this movie all about Alice and how she's Dante from Devil May Cry, and she's just unbeatable.
Yeah,
And
it is
I'm
like
like,
Jill's some side character in her own, essentially her, not premier game because she's already won, but her solo standalone game. She made second fiddle in that.
dude, I remember being so offended watching the scene in the church where they were being attacked by lickers, and like, dude,
Oh
that was
yeah, I
such a
remember
a scene
that.
that had potential. I was like, ooh, okay, the lickers, they're introducing the liquor, and Jill's like shooting. She's like, I'm down to 2 bullets or some shit, and the other guy's like, I'm out, and I'm like, oh, how are they gonna get out of this? And it's like, oh, this is intense, and then fucking Alice in a
Fucking
motorcycle blows through
motorcycle.
the chapel windows, breaks it, comes out with 2 shotguns, and just starts blasting.
Yep.
And I'm just
I
like,
was like,
sure. I was so like dejected.
yeah, and then the whole movie is just like Alice leads this dummy Jill around, and random stars dude that dies, so no one cares. That's why he's a random stars member. Um, and yeah, and then Nemesis comes out, but because he's the guy from the first movie that was her pseudo husband, Alice is like, I don't know if I can fight him because I have feelings for him.
But then proceeds to fistfight Nemesis and wins.
Right.
And I'm like, what the
Because
fuck? What is this?
and yeah, it was such a stark departure because in the first one, the reason why I liked it is because it felt the most Resident Evil, right? She did do some crazy like kick flips and shit, but it's just like, all right, it's a zombie. They're gonna say she's a trained soldier. Okay, sure, I'll let it go, right? But now she's fist fighting Nemesis. I'm like, wait a minute, something's up here. And if you know where the series goes, you know what's up.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about this movie is the other offensive scene was when Nemesis had went toward, I think it was the police station, or maybe it was just a holdout, but it was all the STARS members. They were all there, and they were holding out, and they were just like taking care of business. Like they were holding down the fort, and Nemesis just came there and just blew up the building. Basically, he just massacred.
I don't remember that scene.
Yeah,
I
so
could
like
have.
he rolled in there with the machine gun, which is not accurate to the game, but okay. He had a machine gun, and then like they had the STARS member with like a sniper rifle, he had like a cowboy hat, and he was like, "Oh, I got the shot or whatever."
Oh yes, okay, yes, it's
Dude.
coming back.
And
to
then
me.
like the
Yes,
rest of the
yes.
facility was like other STARS members, and they were all like they had like their weapons and they were ready to go. They were ready for war, and obviously they were surviving. And Nemesis just rolls in there and just kills all of them with the machine gun. Just out, done,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay. Yep.
And then Mike Epps, who was the comedy relief, was there and he survived. And then there was like this scene where Nemesis, like apparently he's the Terminator, and like he scanned Mike Epps, and he was like a 1% threat, and then he dropped his 2 golden guns, and it was like 0% threat. He just walked away.
It went to 0. Yeah.
And I was just like, that was funny. Don't get me wrong, but like, wow, way to shit on the entire Stars team. And then that was it. Like at that point, they totally dropped Nemesis, his purpose of like being a Stars hunter, because he didn't care about Jill anymore. It was just like, let's fight Alice now. She's main character.
Right, because it was her fake husband from the first one. So like he kind of like pierced through and it was the battle between the beast and the man. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I hated it, but I kind of liked it, but I also hated it. So for me, it's like end of good, because I think most people who watch it won't know that. They won't have that history, so they'll just kind of see it for face value, and so
right. And this was the last one, to my knowledge, that just tried to directly implant Alice into an actual Resident Evil event.
Correct. Yes. Every other RE movie was its own thing.
Oh God. Yeah.
So we're just gonna do this. These are just gonna go in bad. There's an argument for weak.
I mean, I think maybe weak because they're just serviceable zombie action flicks that at this point, the ones we're looking at now, need basically almost no prior knowledge of the Resident Evil series.
Correct.
And it was just like, how much Resident Evil stuff or member berries can we stuff into a film? That's what these became.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah, because they had like Claire at one point, Carlos was in it, Leon somehow found his way in here. Then it was the whole like, oh, Wesker's here, but Alice is just a better Wesker. So I know they literally recreated the fight scene from RE5, but it was Wesker versus Alice instead of Wesker versus Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had like a DBZ style fight, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I found out that the director of the movie is married to her, so then that's why she's always there, and the bestest character ever. And it's like, okay, I think I'm gonna bow out here. I'm gonna that day.
I think the most offensive things about, I forget which movie it was. It's for, but like Chris Redfield, such an iconic Resident Evil character. They got the guy from Prison Break to be him, and I was like,
yes,
what? It just made no sense.
But like, hey, no disrespect, but the guy barely fit in the bulletproof vest they put him in, and you try to tell me he's Chris, fucking Tree Trunk Arms Redfield? Come on.
I was like, y'all just doing whatever.
Right, because Alice had to be, she had to be the big boss. She's the best character ever. So.
Yeah, these movies were pretty offensive to me as a RE fan. I moved Apocalypse down to mediocre. Because I thought the first one was just a lot better.
The first one was good because it was just like, it was the first video game movie that I was interested in because it was Resident Evil. Again, it was cheesy and it had almost nothing, it had nothing to do with Resident Evil 1 or 0. But at least tried.
Yeah, again, passable. And then the second one, it was a good precursor to what they would do with the series eventually.
Yeah,
and
good
so,
point. Yeah.
So that's RE. Silent Hill. So this is the first one. I definitely think it's up here. I'm even tempted to put it in great because I thought this was pretty good. I liked it.
You know what? I could get behind that. Yeah, I liked it. I did find it odd that they changed the main character's gender. I was like, I didn't. This was before the dark times of our current media situation. Yeah, but it's just like they changed the story. Well, actually, they changed more of this because this is based off of Silent Hill 2.
Correct.
And the point of the Silent Hill 2 game was he was going to look for his wife, who was dead to his knowledge, but wrote him a letter telling him to come to Silent Hill. So that's what brought him there. But this one, they changed it to a mother that was looking for her daughter that somehow disappeared into Silent Hill.
Yeah. They took liberties, but I thought this was pretty respectful to the source material as far as like the environment, the enemies, the kind of story that they were telling. I thought it was very good, actually. I think it was better than RE when I compare them to. And
in terms of faithfulness,
faithfulness and just overall movie quality, I thought this. I was more interested. Like I remember the first time I watched it, and like the sirens were going off, and like I was like, ooh, this is like I don't know. It just well, I thought it was good. I really liked it, and
Right.
I think in a vacuum, I think it's even better. Like if you don't have any experience with the Silent Hill games, you just watch it as a horror movie. I think most people would be like, "Wow, this is really good." Like, so I don't know. I'd put it in great. That might be a hot take for some people,
I mean, I personally could watch it
but
again.
yeah, it's definitely something I can go back to and just watch in passing and enjoy it. And we don't get a lot of Silent Hill content anymore, so we got to
Yeah.
hold on to what we got. Even though there's a Silent Hill 2 remake coming, but my hopes are kind of low for that.
Yeah, I'm being very tempered with that one.
Yeah. Silent Hill 3D. Now, I feel like I saw this, and I didn't think it was offensive. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was. I feel like it was worse than the
I
second.
would say, yeah, I would say low good, almost bordering on high mediocre.
I was thinking that above RE Apocalypse, but like, yeah, I
Yeah,
think this is where it belongs because this one it became
Yeah.
more action oriented, which
right.
I guess sure. I feel like the directors saw the success of the RE movies and was like, you know what, we need to be more like this, and so they
Yeah.
made Silent Hill more action movie. It was still horror,
Which,
but it leaned on action.
yeah, definitely. Which I don't think they were thinking this, but this, for those who don't know, this is based off of Silent Hill 3. So it uses the same character from 3. And if anybody who knows about Silent Hill 3, that was the game that had the most action.
Yeah,
So that was the game that had like the most guns, the most gunplay. They purposely gave you more ammos and more enemies to fight. So like I said, I don't think the directors were drawing that correlation, but it is funny how it matches up that the most action-packed Silent Hill game is also the most action-packed Silent Hill movie. So there was like a nemesis.
Pyramid
Um,
Head.
Pyramid Head was like he was fighting things. The main character, she had like assault rifles and pistols, and it was way more action oriented, which is canonical with the game it's based off of. But as far as a viewing experience, it was like, it's like you said, it's Silent Hill's version of emulating the Resident Evil.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's where that goes. Sonic. This is the first
Oh,
one. This I would put in great.
I would put it in great.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would put it in top of great. I think
yeah,
the Sonic movie, it was just like cheesy, family friendly, comedy, but I think it was fucking as close as you can get to a
yeah.
video game movie. And what I just noticed? The new Super Mario Brothers movie isn't up here, which I feel like would be an extraordinary. That would be the only extraordinary video game movie.
Actually, I didn't see it, so I didn't
I'm
know.
now noticing that. But yeah, Sonic, I would. No, I'm gonna leave it in great. I think
No,
I think
yeah,
great is where it belongs. I think in
yeah.
extraordinary the 20 when did it come out? 2023, the Mario Brothers movie.
Mario, yeah, 2023.
I think
Yeah, it was
Mario
last year.
Brothers 2023 would be the only extraordinary movie. I think they nailed it with a few like there's a few things I didn't like about it, but I think overall it was very. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but
Oh, no, I have not seen
was
the
it was,
Mario.
it
No.
was very very good. But yeah, Sonic I thought was awesome. Fun movie. I definitely could watch it again. I thought the voice actor for Sonic did a fantastic job capturing the
Yeah.
character. The human characters.
He looked like
He
Sonic,
looked like Sonic, which is
which he wasn't always going to look like
true.
that.
He the first time they launched the trailer, he was looking more like Sonic. But they fixed it. And the second movie isn't up here, but the second movie would just sit right next to it
Right next, yeah.
because they introduced Tails, and then that movie was fun. Jim Carrey, even though like you don't see Robotnik in him because he's not like 400 pounds, but he took that role and like made it his own, and he was super funny in this movie. So
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Great movie. So, any other thoughts on Sonic?
No, it did Sonic well.
Let's skip over and just do Mario Brothers, the '80s version.
Okay. So I like it because it's bad. I'm not going to try and say it deserves to be good or great. It's a bad movie, but I like it
I
because it's
enjoy
so
it too.
bad.
I'd even put it in like weak. just because it's something I could go back and watch. That's 100%
Yo,
nostalgia bias, though. If I'm being honest here, it's like, this takes me back to a simpler time. But if I'm being objective, it's down here. It's pretty fucking bad.
yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Like them Koopas were rough.
It was bad. Listen, they did their best. They did their best. There's not much else I could say about this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mario Brothers, which might be a hot take. Like, sure, there are gonna be people like, how dare you? But like, come on, dog. Like,
No, I mean, if you're out here trying to say it's extraordinary, come on, dog. No, it was a bad movie. It could be, it could be funny because it's so bad it's good. You can make that argument,
sure.
but no, if we're being
But
objective,
I'm trying to.
it's a bad movie.
Tier lists are, I mean, I don't know. Tier list is like a mix of like objectiveness and subjectiveness. It's like a weird mixed bag. Like, I think in a vacuum, if you just show this to somebody who doesn't know about Mario Brothers, they'd be like, "This movie is shit." Like, what are you? Yeah,
Right.
So like
yes.
for me, it's like it's just gonna
Yeah.
go down. Yeah. So, Street Fighter. Let's go with the original first.
To me, this kind of sits with Mario.
Yeah.
Maybe it evolves to weak, and that might be stretching
That's a
it.
stretch, man. Because while I like Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I like I forget the guy's name, but it was the last movie he was in. Guy who played Bison.
Yeah.
He was Adam's Family.
Yes, he also was Adam's Family. Yeah.
Julia? Something. I don't remember his name. But rest in peace.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything wrong because I was gonna say Raja.
No, Raja Ghul is an enemy in Batman. But like this movie, it was rough, bro.
This movie took the piss, though. It really.
It was rough.
My boy Ryu.
Yeah, Ryu and Ken were like street level fucking thugs. Like they were just like
they were Guile.
Guy who's supposed to be American.
He was the main character.
Is played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, who's very not American, and it's just like, yeah.
But I don't know. Like the memes that spawned out of this are just
again,
like eternal.
But
it is a bad movie. I'm not gonna try and
in a vacuum. If you show this to somebody who's never heard about Street Fighter, doesn't know anything about Street Fighter, just watched it for its own merits, it's like, yeah, this is shit. Like somehow is worse than DOA. Better than KOF. Like, sure, that's a very low bar though.
Yeah, because nobody looks like anybody in KOF. At least they tried to.
I think the best character they got in this was Zangief. Zangief was like the most true to form. That's kind of like Balrog was a cameraman.
Because E Honda was like some Hawaiian. Yeah, he was a cameraman.
Sure, Sagat was like this frail, small old man. I'm like, that's Sagat. Really?
Chun-Li was like Asian girl.
Yeah, it was just bad. Speaking of Chun-Li.
Yeah, you had it right the first time, my opinion. I unfortunately saw this in theaters, and if it didn't tell you it was a Street Fighter Chun-Li movie, because they were very specific, it was Chun-Li focused. It was supposed to be her origin story. You would just think this is some mid-tier 2000s action flick. It almost had nothing to do with Street Fighter, minus the girl being called Chun-Li.
I've seen clips. I have not seen the full movie, so I'm going to have to take your word for it. But I'm going to ask you one question before we move on. In a vacuum, if somebody didn't know about Street Fighter and just watched it as a movie, does it move up to bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly?
I say so. Yeah, no, because if I'm thinking about it, like, it was a bad action flick, but yeah, the reason I put it as failure is because I know it's a Street Fighter movie, Chun-Li, that was supposed to spawn some Street Fighter cinematic universe that never happened. But if I take that away, it was just a very generic revenge plot kung fu flick. Like very generic. I think. Oh yeah, Vega was in it too. Yeah, that was one of the main antagonists. Vega was a main antagonist.
I mean, I'm good to put it back in failure.
But
I was just asking.
I mean, it just wasn't good. Like it's just.
Well, good is all the way up here. So like, it's got
like
a long way to go.
it wasn't even like. Yeah, it was just like. I don't know. I'm torn. I consider it a failure.
I'll leave it
personally.
a failure.
But if I. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean,
I would put it above. Yeah.
It's
KOF.
rough, bro. It's so rough. But yeah, okay. I was about to say I should watch it, but I really shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. I mean, no.
I think they're. I'm better off just watching the RE movies. I'll probably get more out of those than.
You probably would. At least you could turn your brain off and watch it as a zombie action flick.
Rip Street Fighter. Okay. Tekken. This shit drop. Let's just put both Tekkens up. I didn't see either one. Actually, no. I think I saw the first one. But seeing the trailer kind of reminded me. I definitely didn't see the second one, and this shit looks bad. Like it looks. I would say it's better than the other two, but that's like not so much.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, the Tekken one had Bandai Namco's seal on it. Like they okayed it. They approved. Someone over there approved.
Yeah, like they changed like the first one was Jin, and he was I don't know what his motivation was, but he was in the Tekken tournament, the Iron Fist tournament, and the Iron Fist tournament is more of like a UFC organization, from what I gather, and like they have some white guy playing Kazuya for some reason, and
yeah. They tried with Heihachi. They tried. An attempt was made.
Is that enough to bump it up to Double Dragon status? I don't think so. It was just
no.
I feel like you have so much source material with Tekken that like you could have done so much with this.
Bro, there are people who play Tekken just for the story mode. They don't even fuck with the multiplayer. Yeah. Like Tekken's story is cheesy and over the top. But it's right for a movie.
Yeah, and I feel like you can make an entertaining movie if you really tried with Tekken.
Yeah.
But they just took a shit on this one. And then Tekken 2.
Yeah, I don't know where...
What were you going to say about the Tekken?
I was going to say, I don't know where Tekken was when this came out. Like, what was the latest Tekken? I think this came
out around Tekken 5. Tekken 5 or 6.
Okay. Because obviously this is before not Kaza. Heihachi dies and stays dead.
Way before.
Okay. Tekken 2 though, supposedly wasn't supposed to be a Tekken movie.
Apparently not, because Kazuya is now Asian, not white anymore, and he is the main character. He lost his memory, and he is in a death cult or something, and he is forced to fight.
Some guy put a bomb in him or something.
And Heihachi's there, same actor, so kudos for that, I guess. And he's trying to teach him about his past when he was a white man in the first Tekken movie. I don't know. It was just really bad. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a straight to DVD. Yeah. Like, do not pass theaters. Please go straight to the bargain bin at like your fucking Dollar General or something.
Really shitty. This is the Tomb Raider reboot. I didn't see it,
yes,
but I did see trailers for it, and I thought it was fine. I put it in good based on what I know about it, but I can't. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did see it on a streaming service. I mean, this for anybody who doesn't know is going off of the reboot of the Tomb Raider series. So this is more vulnerable, less badass, kind of clumsy Laura. And it's basically a retelling of the first reboot game. So it's like a lot of the iconic scenes, like the whole plane scene, is in there. It's fine. Yeah, I would say good. Maybe like low good. Yeah, low good. I mean, the actress playing Laura, while no Angelina Jolie, she looks fine. Like portrays Laura well. She's got the British accent, which is kind of mandatory for Laura, so got that going for her. Yeah, it was competent. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm also not the biggest Tomb Raider fan, so I didn't have that bias going into it, or I probably rate it a lot lower. Yeah, it was okay. It was good. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, and last but not least, Warcraft, which I don't play WoW, um, but I do remember when this movie was coming out. I remember a lot of people who did play WoW were very excited for it. I remember people saying really good things about it. I don't know if it's in low grade. I can't personally put it there because, again, I don't have context, and I also didn't see the movie. I know you saw the movie. Based on what I do know, I'm tempted to put it like somewhere in here.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in great. So, okay, so I did see the movie. You are correct. I also have no familiarity with the Warcraft genre or the world of Warcraft, the MMO, the fantasy books, anything. Like I know it exists. I know it is a very popular MMO. Blizzard owns it. That's all I know. So when I went to watch this, I watched it with my father, and we both went in as like he didn't know anything. I knew it was based off of like the MMO and the Warcraft IP, but I had no connection with it. So I just watched it as a fantasy medieval movie, and I enjoyed it for the most part. Like, you know, the orcs were cool, the alliance humans were cool. The plot was like, your serviceable fantasy plot of these two warring races are trying to come together, but an evil orc wants to ruin the alliance to make orcs fight humans, so orc kind wins, but good orc teams up with human and they build trust and they become bros and save the world. It was like very cookie cutter generic fantasy movie. But I mean, like it looked good. The CGI was
I remember
fine
seeing
from my understanding.
It's pretty. Looks all right. Looks good. But I haven't seen. I was supposed to see it with this girl, but that fell through for some reason. Because she was a big Warcraft fan. She wouldn't shut up about it.
I mean, it was serviceable as a guy who's never played WoW or any of the Warcraft IPs. It was serviceable.
I can believe it based on what I've seen. So I'm good to leave it up here and good.
I agree with that.
That's the tier list. So in extraordinary, we don't have anything, but an honorable mention, which isn't up here in the tier list for some reason, is the latest Mario Brothers movie. I would throw that in extraordinary, which might be a hot take for some people. Hey man, sue me.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, so I mean, they all look like who they're supposed to look like. It's all CGI animated anyway. Part of that movie I hope so.
Probably not the worst part, but like one of the parts I was like, Chris Pratt as Mario, like
I heard there are a lot like that like he didn't to some people he didn't capture Mario like they wanted him to.
Like, there were parts where he did the wahoos and stuff, and I was like, okay, but that was clearly like fan service.
Okay, yeah, I heard a lot of people say it was just Chris Pratt talking.
Pretty much, like my man was just. This was another Tuesday fan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so, and then Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was just like cringe because he did the stupid laugh as Donkey Kong's like, "You're."
Oh no!
I was like, "You're a fucking. I hate you." Anyway, that's extraordinary. Great. We got the Sonic movie, which Sonic 2 would also be a part of that list, I think. Detective Pikachu, the first Silent Hill movie. Under good, we have Resident Evil, first one, Tomb Raider, the first one, Tomb Raider, the second one, Mortal Kombat, the first one, I think 94, 95, Warcraft, and the latest Tomb Raider movie. I don't know what year this was. This might have been 2018 or something like 2017. Who knows?
Oh man, I don't remember. Yeah.
Mediocre, we got the second Silent Hill movie, Silent Hill 3D, Resident Evil Apocalypse, which is the second one, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is the second MK direct sequel to the 5 one, Prince of Persia, Hitman 2007 and Hitman 2015. Under Week, every other Resident Evil movie. So that would be Extinction, whatever this one is, Afterlife, and Evil Goes Global. I think this one was the one where apparently Wesker's a good guy now, and they're standing on top of the White House and they're fighting pterodactyl zombies or something. It was just like, what is?
Okay.
What are you doing?
Okay.
Okay, sure. Rampage, DOA, and House of the Dead. Bad, we have the original Street Fighter movie, the original Mario Brothers movie. These are both the 80s versions of both. Doom. I know there's another Doom movie. We're going off the assumption that this is the first Doom movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Max Payne, which is just like a clusterfuck. Who knows what the hell's going on with that movie? Double Dragon was a snooze fest. This was done in the 80s. And then The Failure, which is the worst of the worst. Nothing but fighting games down here. Tekken 2, Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li, and I think there's multiple King of Fighters movies, but this is the one with...
Oh, really?
I think there's another one, but this is the one with Bubble Jacket Terry Bogard, which is the most memorable thing, because it's the worst thing in the movie. It was just bad. It was just like... so bad. Like, they didn't even try.
And Kyo has a sword for some reason.
Sure. So yeah, that's our tier list for at least for the movies that were listed in the this was like made by somebody else, and then like these movies down here. I'm intrigued to see Alone in the Dark 1 and 2. Those might be
I didn't know
good.
that was a thing.
Far Cry, I'd be willing to watch. Ace Attorney might be like pretty funny to watch. I don't. Blood Rain could be good. The game was pretty good from what I remember. Postal might be like pretty funny, or disturbing, or both. I am good on the Assassin's Creed one personally.
Yeah, I mean, Magneto playing freaking I think Altair, the first one. I don't know if it does that. I don't know if that works.
Think this one he's like Desmond from the first game. Like Desmond is the
guy that they're taking all his
he's like
past ancestors'
the
memories.
predecessor to Altair or whatever. And so they just use the same actor for Altair, which I guess makes sense. And he's like jumping in between the past and the present, and like somehow the skills are transferring over to him in the present, which I think is canon to Assassin's Creed. And like, I don't know. I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm good on that.
I think so. I know Desmond dies at some point in the actual video game, so he's not even around.
Yeah,
anymore.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on this one respectfully. There's a reason why there isn't a second.
And the and the Japanese ones, I can't even begin to guess what they are. I can't.
Because you can't expand it, so I can't even like.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm not gonna try and guess. I don't know what they.
But I mean, they look more interesting than a lot of other stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. They look like more horror movies than anything else.
Yeah, they might be like a Japanese horror game that we may or may not in the U.S.
Could be. But yeah, that's our tier list. So
yeah, I'm comfortable with this. I think this is right.
For those watching, you made it this far. Thank you for indulging us for this hour of nonsense. Let us know in the comments down below where you would move things around. Let me know if you're a fan of the KOF movie. I'd really love to hear your justification. Because that movie was trash. Leave a like on the video, dislike if you disliked it. Subscribe for more content. We do podcasts like this every single week. Launch them at 12 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. So subscribe so that you're notified when those go live. And we do a variety of topics. We do filler episodes like this where we just tier list random things that are related to video games. Sometimes we'll talk about like modern, like current issues or current events in the gaming industry. Sometimes we'll do like opinion pieces where we'll just talk about our favorite insert video game thing here. So yeah, there's that. There's also other content too, like 2-minute reviews. I think there's some gameplay videos on there too. Check out the description to get access to the links to our social media. So we have TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and we have Discord. There's also a Twitch link as well, which links to Mr. Esoteric stream. He's like, I guess, the leader of Logical Gamers brand, and so he streams 2 to 3 times a week on Twitch, and he streams a bunch of different kind of games, like Resident Evil, like Tomb Raider. He's streamed those games, like Street Fighter, like Tekken. So definitely check him out. Show him some love on his channel. That being said, see you in the next one.
Next time.